there's a monolith there, a very unusual structure on this little potato-shaped object that goes around Mars once in 7 hours.
From Buzz Aldrin's wild confession to pyramids on Mars, NASA has a lot to hide and a lot to explain for. Over the years, the agency has developed a knack for archiving the eerie visuals from space that ought to freak people out. Those images can spin your perspective on space exploration to 180 degrees, something the agency desperately wants to avoid. And then there's no going back. So sit tight and join us as we unravel everything about NASA, leaking 10 terrifying space images we weren't supposed to see. Let's get started. Number 10. Apollo 11. Mission One Small Step for a Man, One Giant Leap for Mankind. The Apollo 11 mission was a monumental event in the Earth's recent history. In the ever-rigorous race for outer space, the United States had sent a successful mission to the moon while defying all odds. A 3-day journey into lunar orbit was about to change every space exploration venture. For the first time ever, the scientific world looked hopeful and enthusiastic to uncover life-changing secrets from our universe. Overall, Apollo 11 was successful in all regards. It had collected the promised sample and brought back clear-cut pictures of the moon's surface. Since then, moon landings have been a favorite pastime subject for conspiracies and speculation. And we're just not talking about the big debate if the moon landing was real or not. If anything, that's perhaps not the right question to ask when NASA and the state's UFO agency have done anything in their power to hide and censor the real experiences of the Apollo 11 astronauts. And the most controversial figure is, of course, Buzz Aldrin, as he has dragged the UFO for lying to the public. You see, when Aldrin entered the lunar orbit, he observed a light out of the window that was moving along their spacecraft. While the astronaut has a lot of theories, he didn't rule out the possibility of some outer-world rocket or spacecraft following their trajectory. The unexplained flashes of light had left the Apollo 11 moonwalkers pretty confused. One theory suggests that they might have seen high-energy cosmic particles that were flashing lights as the spacecraft moved along. Yet neither of the astronauts has vouched for this theory or confirmed anything similar. As far as Aldrin is concerned, his sightings are unidentified and unexplained. Buzz Aldrin had also reported the weird streaks of light to NASA right after his mission. After all, the agency was theorizing about extraterrestrial existence for years. Even the astronaut himself is convinced that there is an astrobiological presence in space that could be hundreds of light years away. However, he was shocked when he came to know that America's UFO agency hadn't revealed his findings to the public. So when he openly admitted to witnessing the weird flashes of lights, the higher-ups went ballistic on him. But the ship had sailed. Later on, NASA was quite forthcoming with the information. So far, the mystery of weird flashes of light remains unsolved. Number 9. Mars-henge. The mystery of Stonehenge is a never-ending saga. Even though scientists have many robust theories about unusual structures, mythical speculations haven't died down. Some believe the site is the ruins of a Roman temple or a giant calendar based on the solar year. And of course, the most popular myth about Stonehenge is that it was built by Merlin, the powerful Arthurian wizard. But for years, many alien conspiracy theorists have believed otherwise. According to many, Stonehenge is purely an alien creation, or it has something to do with a cosmic presence that laid out the stones in a way that they were facing the sunrise of the summer solstice and the sunset of the winter solstice. As much as the improbable theories around the structure call for some unconventional hypothesis, scientists haven't credited the alien theory enough. In their defense, the rationale behind Stonehenge is an amalgamation of Eastern Mediterranean and Egypt-inspired calendars. Until NASA's mission on Mars captured images that left many scientists shocked and speechless. The rover on the Martian surface sent back some interesting images, and in one of the high-resolution images we can see a circular structure of stones arranged in a peculiar yet certain pattern, just like Stonehenge. Dubbed as the Mars Henge, the stone structure has 2 circles of rocks and 1 square in its center. The resemblance to the original Stonehenge is almost uncanny, but of course we can't definitely say which of those 2 structures is the original. while the other one is a close imitation. After all, it is hard to gauge any Egyptian influence on a structure found on the red planet. What's really interesting about this case is that the pictures from the Martian rover are decades old. Believe it or not, NASA had that groundbreaking pictorial proof archived since the 1970s. But when the space agency started to make more and more of its discoveries public, some eagle-eye UFO investigators made this remarkable discovery. And in the process, they have fueled the popular narrative that has plagued NASA for years. Many believe the agency has concrete proof of alien sightings, but keeps the public in the dark. For the most part, many NASA-affiliated scientists have dismissed the Mars-Henge theory. You heard that right. Despite having clear-cut images of a Martian Stonehenge structure, they don't want to engage in the obvious. Instead, they believe ET hunters are just experiencing pareidolia, a condition where our brain tricks us into noticing familiar patterns in ambiguous visual patterns. Sure, but what are the chances of nature conjuring up a stone structure on Mars that's a spitting image of something equally bizarre on Earth? Add this haunting question to your list of the top 10 things science can't answer. So far, at least. Number 8. Chelyabinsk meteor. It's not a mystery that NASA doesn't have definite proof regarding big meteor impacts on Earth. Our planet is centuries old, and it's hard to document its history from the time when technology was non-existent. So the agency can't conclusively tell us if we have had mind-bending contacts with meteoroids. Typically, a huge fireball event would leave craters that are deeper like the oceans, and many humans would probably lose their lives. The devastation would be matchless. NASA can't definitely say if the Earth has had similar levels of destruction. After all, many deep craters must have eroded by now, or they might be hiding under the oceans. But that doesn't mean we haven't come close to experiencing mass levels of devastation. In 2013, a building-sized meteor entered the atmosphere near Chelyabinsk in Russia. Its speed was 11 miles per hour, and it exploded just 14 miles above the ground. The blast was heard and felt everywhere in the country. The sonic boom shattered glass in every vicinity of the meteor, and the light that flashed was almost blinding. Many thought that doomsday was here. The impact happened in a split second. More than 1,500 people were injured due to shattered glass that was lodged into their bodies. Not to mention more than 7,200 buildings experienced significant damage because of the shock wave that followed. Yep, there was no moment of hesitation. 1 minute everything was fine, and the next minute there was a deep crater in the Chelyabinsk vicinity. Images leaked by NASA are nothing short of terrifying. Usually, such instances of planetary defense are kept hush-hush until robust investigations are made. But the severity of the situation was too important for anyone to keep the meteor attack a secret. Plus, the event had a monumental shock after. For years, NASA had illusioned us into believing that we have a strong enough infrastructure to take care of such foreign intrusion. Apparently not, though. Number 7. Martian pyramids. What if we tell you there's a huge possibility that Mars has its own version of pyramids? All right, we are aware this is not an episode of Doctor Who, but that little piece of fiction has turned into a reality. NASA's Curiosity rover has done some life-changing work on the Martian surface. Since the mission sends back constant updates from the red planet, we've started to know Mars much more closely. So far, we can safely say that the planet's surface awfully resembles Earth. There's water, dust, Stonehenge, and now the Egyptian classic, pyramids. There is little doubt that the captured image isn't a pyramid, or at least a pyramid-like structure. Even though NASA didn't roll the image as an astonishing discovery, the image made waves on many conspiracy theory websites. For many ET enthusiasts, Curiosity's discovery is nothing short of a lottery. Finally, many ET hunters have substantial proof that aliens had something to do with making the Egyptian wonders of the world. Sure, scientists have an alternative theory that the Martian structures are just a coincidental reflection of the pyramids. Due to the wind, erosion is quite strong on the planet, which magically took a pyramidal shape. That's plausible, of course, but a close investigation of the Martian structure will tell you that it has the scientific specifications and precision of the Egyptian wonders. In the constant back and forth, the scientists were also able to point out that the pyramids on Mars aren't as big as the ones on our planet. At most, outer space pyramids are of a car's size, but conspiracy theorists are relentless. Many close observations show that the pyramids aren't just ordinary rock formations, and certainly it is not some grand light and shadow trick either. What we see in the captured image is something very real, a product of intelligent design and careful mastery. Now, since space missions in NASA haven't pulled up those pyramids, then who has? All fingers point towards an astrobiological presence that's smart and calculated enough to string scientific wonders like pyramids. Also, since many people believe that the pyramids in Egypt are just the tip of the underground structures, the same could be said about Mars's structures too. But so far, we only have an image that isn't enough to prove or disprove anything.